What's up, beautiful people, and welcome back to the Baird Show. Today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about being intentional with your things and being a bit more choosy with people and experiences. Let's get into it. Okie dokie. So, not going to waste much time getting right into this. Today's episode is about being intentional. And what does it mean to be intentional? Well, I've recently found this new creator on YouTube that I quite enjoy. His name is Matt D'Avella. I can't say it. I don't understand how he says it. But his big thing is being very choosy with what you choose to keep and what to do with your life, and putting an importance on how your time is meaningful. And I guess before we get too far into this episode, I should say that this episode, I believe this is episode 11. This episode and next episode are quite closely linked. I just broke them into two because there's a ton to talk about. So anyways, the whole point for this episode would be to, I guess, really just to talk about what it means to be intentional. And it just means you're very clear with what you want and what you expect from your things. So my room is a mess, and it always has been. It's been cleaner sometimes than others, but it's always kind of been a bit of a mess. And I feel that this is kind of a common thing because it's easier to just ignore the mess, but it was really starting to get on my nerves. So I was looking for some way to organize my stuff, and I stumbled across this dude. And whether you call it minimalism, whether you call it like Marie Kondo's method, whatever it may be, it's just the simple practice of keeping less things. But getting rid of things can be kind of daunting, because you're like, oh, this is sentimental value to me. I got this here. But the whole point of it is to think, his whole thing is to think about things in the way of the last 6 months. So in these last 6 months, did I get any enjoyment from this thing? Did it add any value to my life? Did it add any benefit? And even 6 months might be a bit too short term. Maybe even go as far back as the last year. But just to be thinking about what it is that we need in life. And if you have your needs met, then, you don't really need much else. But that's one of the ways that I guess society has been organized, is since I've been a little kid, you always think, oh, I want to be rich when I get older. Like everyone's had that. And someone will be like, oh, what do you think rich is? Oh, driving stupid expensive cars and having a big mansion. Well, after talking to my sister and talking about being rich and successful, I believe episode, I don't actually know. That's really bad. Whatever, the one with Lauren. I talked to her, and she was talking about how success for her is she has to be happy with what she's doing, and she has to be still making money, but the ability to kind of choose where she wants to go and still live comfortably. And I feel like that's kind of more where I want to head. And it all starts with really how your life is organized. So I was kind of just sitting on my bed, and I'm looking around, and I'm seeing stuff like there was just these empty plastic bins that I got from when I needed the extra storage for stuff I no longer have. And I'm looking around some more, and I see little kid books that I don't read ever. And I see 3 picture frames with photos of me. That's kind of weird. Why would I keep that? So I just started on one bookshelf, and I went through that whole shelf, and anything that had not brought value to me got put in a bin. I'm not getting rid of it yet, because some stuff, it's not garbage and it's not to donate. It has value, but I have a small space. This is a small room. I don't need to have everything with me, because then it's just going to be too cramped. And the statement about if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, that's kind of true, but also you're changing the things you look at, so the way you look at things changes. Because next time, since I've been thinking and more consciously, being more conscious of a consumer, I'll be out and I'll see something, oh, I kind of want that. And then I'll have that second thought, well, do I need that? Like 6 months from now, am I still going to use that? Is it still going to be adding value to my life actively? And if you think about that, then you'll be more intentional with the things you have and more focused. And it's made me really happy because I sold a few things on Kijiji and got rid of a bunch of stuff. And with that money from it, I was able to go to like a thrift store and I bought a whole bunch of new books. I bought a photography and videography manual. I bought coding C++ for dummies. I bought just books on stuff I want to learn. And now they have a home. And it's stuff that I've wanted to learn for a while and like attack. So now I have the time and I have the space and I have the resources for it just because I was more conscious. And I just kind of stopped myself and thought, what am I really trying to accomplish? And another thing with that is another reason that I've been like changing all of this is because I've so much, like I feel like I have a cluttered room and a cluttered mind sometimes. Like I kind of feel that that's the way I am. And I was cleaning up my room and I was realizing how this mess was actually getting in the way of me being creative and me making podcasts. Because it's so much easier to blame the crap sitting in the way of like my backdrop. So much easier to do that than move all that stuff, say, you know what? We're starting now. We're getting stuff done. We're going to make a podcast. We're going to do this. It's so much easier to make excuses, and I know that. And I still do that. But just the thought of trying to be intentional and like more focused on what it is that I actually want. This, as I said at the beginning of the episode, it's going to be 2 shorter episodes. 11 and 12 will kind of go together. So for that reason, I'm not going to do any segments this week. Actually, sorry, I do have one, and that's my thing of the week. I just didn't think keeping a whole extra like chunk of time for segments is really needed because obviously at least I think this, what I have, like my message and what I have to say is more important than like fun facts about mosquitoes or something. That said, I still enjoy doing them. So I'll probably do it next episode. If not, it'll be in episode 13 and the following ones. This episode, I just wanted to keep a little bit shorter because, not only that, I'd noticed that my viewership tends to drop around the 10-minute mark, which is fine. That's another thing with being intentional. There's the content that I want to make and the content that ends up doing really well. And because it's just in the beginning, this isn't my livelihood, it's kind of a hobby. I've been focused more on what I want to talk about and what I want to say, so that looking back on it, I'll be proud of it, and it's not what other people wanted me to do. So if this episode wasn't really your cup of tea, I'm sorry. You'll be able to come back. Episode 13, we'll probably be doing something a little bit more fun, but I still wanted to make this episode because my hope is that someone will find value in it, and someone will be able to sit there and think, you know what? Some of what he said, actually, he's kind of got a point. He's onto something. I should try that. But with all of that said, my thing of the week for this week is a power bank. It is 10,000 milliamp hour power bank, which is quite large, but same size. It's not terribly big. It's quite light for what it is. Has 2 USB ports that charge at, I believe one of them's 5 watts and 10 watts. And then there's a USB-C that's capable of 15-watt fast charging for all you Android folks like myself. But the reason I got this is because most outlets in our school, you're not technically supposed to charge your phone. There's an agreement that the parents signed when you brought their phone, just so they don't have to worry about phones exploding or getting stolen, so on and so forth. So no one ever really listened to that, but now that there's the pandemic and you won't really be able to stay in space, like a common space, for too long and plug your phone in, I thought that this would be extra important, so we picked it up at Staples. I believe it was $24 or something, but I have been using this so much. I thought even when I'm at home it wouldn't get much usage, just stay on my shelf. My phone has been topped right up pretty much the entire time I've been at home, and this thing will charge my phone and keep it charged for a ridiculous amount of time. So it's just something that I almost always take with me when I leave the house now, which is pretty impressive, seeing as my keys even, my house keys. You know how people that have like lanyards and a whole bunch of keys and stuff, you can hear their keys rattling when they walk? I never quite loved that. I like having keychains and stuff, but I just didn't like having a bunch of loose keys. So I was looking online, and I forget what the company's called, but it's almost like a Swiss Army knife where all the keys like fold out of it. And I was like, that's a really good idea. I should make, it's $40. I'm not spending that much. So I made my own out of Meccano, and all the keys come out. They all still work. And then when you're done with them, they get folded into this nice little package. Doesn't rattle. It's all metal, so can take a licking and keep on ticking. And yeah. So the fact that this battery bank made it into what I leave the house with every day means quite a lot, because I'm quite picky about what I carry with me. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much this episode. That's what I wanted to talk about, I think, mostly. Yeah, so I will see you in the next episode. Stay tuned. Love you all. Bye.